Very good morning, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 12 science biology and we are going to see the chapter number 12, that is the biotechnology and its application. We have covered so many topics of this chapter. If you wish to check my videos, then you can see my YouTube channel, and there are several playlists which are there according to the chapter wise as well as the standard wise. So you can refer to those videos for this lectures. So let's start with today's topic. In the previous lecture, we have completed till the we have seen about the transgenic animals. Today, we are going to see several ethical issues which are associated with the transgenic animals. In the previous video, we have seen about that how the transgenic animals are being used in different fields, right? And how many different types of transgenic animals are being found, and what is exactly the function of the transgenic animals. But along with that also, there are several ethical issues also which are occurring in relation with the transgenic animals. So let's start with today's topic. So Indian government has set up an organization that is GEAC, that is the full form of GEAC is the Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. So the Indian government has set up an organization GEAC which makes decisions regarding validity of GM research and its use for public utility. Now, for formation or for making any of the transgenic animal, or we can say the genetically modified research, that is the GM research, right? Firstly, the Indian government, it has a specialized organization which is known as Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. And this genetic engineering approval committee, they are taking several decisions according to the GM research, that is the genetically modified research, and how the genetically modified research should be used for the public, right? So all these things are being controlled as well as they are approved by the GEAC, right? Next, the modification which may result in the loss of biological significance of animals cannot go beyond regulation. Now here what happens, due to the use or due to the making of the transgenic animals, you may have or you may face the loss of the biological significance. That means that the particular animal's characteristics, we are not going to get them back, right? So once they are forming the transgenic animals, what happens, they are not being formed like just like before they were. They cannot be again like that. So that is the loss of the biological significance of the animals. Next is unpredictable results may be observed if these organisms are introduced in natural ecosystem, right? Sometimes if you are keeping free this type of genetically modified organism in the environment or in the ecosystem where the natural things are there, then it can may create several unpredictable results. That means it, we cannot think also that what kind of results or um, uh, what kind of situations it may create, right? Because there is present the genetically modified, that means it is going to show comparatively more amount of it is going to express more amount of genes in them, right? So if you are going for the mixture of different types of genes from different types of animals in one single animal, then there are chances that in a single animal there can be expression of all the different types of characters of different animals, right? So this can be the unpredictable result which can be found due to the transgenic animals, right? So you cannot easily place them into the natural ecosystem, right? Next is patents for transgenic varieties also create problem, as many indigenous varieties are claimed by multinational companies as their own invention, right? Now here what happens, the patents, that means whatever company or whatever um, industry is using a particular transgenic variety, right? Then if they are patenting, right, patenting means they for the first time, if they are using or if they have formed that particular transgenic animal or variety, then the multinational companies name is being given to that animal, so that if anyone else is using that, then also the main invention which was carried out, that would be stay the same, right? So for writing that, right, what here they are doing is they are doing the patenting of those transgenic varieties, and this patenting can also create several problems, right, as the indigenous varieties are claimed by multinational companies. So several multinational companies, they say that this particular transgenic varieties which is not been invented by them, but they are showing that this is their own inventions, right? So this way also the patenting, through the patenting of this transgenic varieties, it can also create problems. The example of it is, you can see the example over here is the basmati rice, right? A variety of basmati rice was claimed by an American company through patenting, right? This new variety was actually derived by Indian farmers, right? So here what happens is the basmati rice which was observed here, right? So here you can see the variety of the basmati rice, right? The Indian farmers were the one who actually invented or who actually found the variety of the different type of basmati rice. But as the American company, what they did is they claimed on that basmati rice and they took the patent of that particular basmati rice, that is the variety, right? So the example of it is, the even though the Indian farmers they found this basmati rice, right, but the patenting which was carried out, that was through the American company, right? Now, there are estimated 2 lakh varieties of rice in India. Now, 2 lakh varieties of rice are found in India, which are having different types of characteristics as well as the nutritional value. So, amongst these 2 lakh varieties of rice which are found in India, amongst them, 27 varieties of basmati rice are grown in India, right? So, around from this many varieties, only 27 documented varieties of basmati rice is available or grown in India, right? Several attempts have also been made to patent uses, products, and processes based on Indian traditional human medicines. The example of it can be said as the turmeric and neem. So here, what they are saying is, uh, there are several attempts which are also being made, right, to patent the uses as well as the products as well as the processes, right? Three of these things needs to be patented, right? So when the patenting is carried out, so that at that portion what you can do is anyone cannot take up your invention, right? So here there were several attempts which were done in order to patent the uses, products as well as the processes, and it was based on the Indian traditional human medicines, and the main example is the turmeric and neem, right? So if it is asked that what is the example which is seen in the Indian traditional human medicine, then that is the turmeric as well as neem. Turmeric is useful in the antiseptic way, right? If you are injured, then if you use this turmeric, then it can be healed soon. Same way, neem plant, that is the neem leaves, are also very much useful in the day-to-day life. So this is about the several ethical issues which are occurring due to the transgenic animals, or we can say the transgenic different types of organisms, right? Here we complete this transgenic animals portion. The next topic is the biopiracy, right? Now, what happens in the biopiracy? So, first of all, the biopiracy. In the biopiracy, the use of bioresources by the multinational companies and other organizations without proper authorization from countries and people concerned without compensatory payment. Here, biopiracy, that means bio and piracy. Split the word in two. Bio means living, piracy means you are or the one like the, for example, if someone has invented something and you are giving your name to that particular thing, that is a piracy, right? You are taking that thing, you are taking the authorization from that thing, that is biopiracy. So there is some use of the bioresources by the multinational companies, right? What they do, they use the bioresources and other organization also. So the multinational companies, they use bioresources, as well as some other organization are also using bioresources, right, without the authorized. That means they does not have the authority to use that bioresource, but still the multinational companies as well as some other organizations are using that bioresources, right? So from different countries as well as the people also. Maybe in India also there are so many, there may be so many multinational companies or organizations which are using the bioresources without permission or without authorization. So if they are using without authorization or permission, then that is known as biopiracy, right? So for using the bioresources, what the like the multinational companies as well as the other organizations should have the permission or the grant letter or the authorization letter, and on the basis of that the uh, companies or the organizations can use those bioresources. But if they are not having, and then also if they are using that bioresources, then that is known as biopiracy. Here, industrialized and developed nations are economically rich but poor in biodiversity and traditional knowledge. Normally, the industrialized and developed nation, that means India is said to be the developing country, right? But let's talk about the developed nations. So there are so many developed countries as well as the industrialized nations are also there, right? So the industrialized as well as the developed nations, they are comparatively economically rich. That means by economic way they are very rich, but in the ways of biodiversity and the traditional knowledge they are very poor, right? So the traditional knowledge related to bioresources can be exploited to develop modern applications, right? So for creating the new modern applications, you should have the traditional knowledge related to the bioresources. If you are having the knowledge or the traditional knowledge related to the bioresources, then you can easily apply or easily can form different types of applications, right? That you can use in the production of the different types of products, right? Then it can also be used to save time, effort and expenditure during their commercialization, right? So when you are going for the commercialization, that is the placing of that product in the market, what you can save the time as well as less efforts are being given, as well as the expenditure. That means what type of expense you are using or you are giving to that particular product, that can also be particularly it can be decreased, right? Then several steps should be taken by developing countries to prevent this exploitation. Now, the developing countries should take steps for preventing the exploitation. That means the people of that developing country should be aware, right, that they should use the bioresources in a proper manner or in a limited way, right? If they are using more and more, then there will be no leftover bioresources for the future generation, right? The Indian Parliament has recently introduced second amendment of Indian patents bills to deal with these issues. So, to deal with this all the issues, right, that is the particular exploitation of the bioresources, the Indian Parliament has recently introduced second amendment in which the Indian patents bill uh, is being given, and how to deal with this type of issues has also been given in that, right? So this is all about the biopiracy. So uh, here we complete this chapter, and I hope you are very clear with today's topic. And if you want to if you wish to check my previous videos of this chapter, you can check my YouTube link for it. So in the YouTube channel, there are several playlists which are already been formed, so you can check all those playlists according to your choice. So I hope to see you again. Thank you.